Welcome to the Seize the Day weekly podcast, your connection to all things cruising, powered by Travel with Brigitte.
And I'm Julie Williams, along with the Travel with Brigitte cruise expert, Carla Mesa, on the Seize the Day cruise show. Today, we're going to look at how you keep everyone happy, from the baby to the grandparents, when you're traveling with a group from 5 to 85 years old. By the way, if you have any suggestions, we're all ears. Just post your suggestion or question below. Hey, Carla, let's start with activities on board, and then after a little bit, we can move to like in-port activities and stuff like that.
Yeah, of course. I would say that maybe, the number one activity or kind of area that gets utilized, and probably is even the main reason your family decided to go on a cruise, is the pool. The pool, the water slides, like the aquatic area in general, depending on the ship and the cruise line you're on, is either going to be extremely family friendly. It's definitely where you're going to see a lot of children. But you also have some adult only areas as well, if that's something that you're interested in, the different hot tubs and lounge areas.
Yeah, the pools are really nice. And the hot tubs, they're changing rules a little bit. Some of them are. We can never speak for every cruise line at once. They're different companies, but some of them are changing where you need to be a certain age to be in the hot tub.
So even if it's not in a restricted area, they're still kind of cracking down. Yeah, that is definitely something you see sometimes in, you do see some children running in and out, kind of just treating it almost as like a waiting pool. So that does make some sense as well.
Yeah, older people want to go in there and relax, and then the kids come and they're jumping around and playing and splashing, and, it can be annoying sometimes.
Right, especially if you're there so that you can watch your own children and you're not, taking the time to go to like the adults only area. You would at least want that, that specific space to have some limitations.
I've been in the hot tub with parents that are in with, like, one lady was in with two little kids, and she was in with them, and they were very good because mom was right there giving them attention, and it wasn't unpleasant at all. But, when you let kids be alone playing around in the hot tub, then it's really disruptive, I think, to a lot of other people.
Right. There's definitely a time and place, but, in that environment, it's definitely the family environment, everyone together, kind of keeping an eye on each other. And even to my next point, I'd say another great overall everyone can do family is the family trivia nights. And sometimes it's not just in the evening. If you pay attention to your itinerary, to your ship day schedules, they usually have a few of those trivia events throughout the day as well. And those are a great one for families. It's really fun to sometimes see even younger children that you wouldn't realize, like, standing up there with the top 3 winners for, like Friends trivia or Harry Potter. They're pretty good at choosing, these very popular either TV shows or movies and series. And especially if it's something that, you already sit down as a family and watch, and then you play together, it can be a lot of fun.
Yeah. One of the things I did bonding with my son when he was a preteen is we would watch Friends together all the time. And at one point we listened to an audiobook series, the Left Behind series. It's a Christian allegory. It's got like 12 books in it, and it's just like on the edge of your seat the whole time. And I said to him once when he was like in high school, I said, you know what? Somebody died. So one of the original 4 died. And he's like, who? And then when he figured it out, he said, no, not Chloe. I hope I didn't just let the cat out of the bag for anybody.
I will remember if I ever look into it. Don't worry. For anyone else.
Before I forget, we've linked to a free PDF download in the show notes. It's a 1-page summary of these ideas, and you can reference that in your planning, courtesy of Travel with Brigitte. So we hope you'll take advantage of that. And we'll try to have more of those to come, every week or two. So what else would you say is good to have families really, the baby to grandpa all do together?
So one of the new things that I've seen on some ships, especially the ships that consider themselves more of a like a foodie type of environment where they're very focused on the cuisine and the different things they offer. They'll offer different cooking classes or even like decorating classes. That way, if you have younger children, they can still feel involved, like cookies or cupcakes, especially right now, getting closer to the holiday season with it being fall, going into winter. There's so many things to be creative with when it comes to having your kids help in the kitchen, or like I said, in these specific decorating and cooking classes. They go out of their way to make everyone feel involved and like they're capable of doing the task.
Right. And also, if the kids are doing some child activity and you wanted to, go to a certain show that was not necessarily kid friendly or something, they all have like kids clubs of some kind, yes. Except the ones that don't allow kids, of course.
Right.
And I've seen recently they've got a kids club, and then they've got like a preteens club, a tween club, and then they've got a high school club. And so, and they have all different activities like, scavenger hunts and all sorts of different types of games and stuff that they play, and other activities that they do that are age appropriate with lots of kids their own age. And the parents don't have to be there for that. The parents can actually take some time on their own.
Yeah, that's a great option to use for when, people want to do their own thing. The kids have a blast. And like you said, they are very age appropriate. They have anywhere from like 4 or 5 different rooms even. I think they even give them each like their own room where they have different activities, because they're all, like you said, they're age appropriate. Like I believe like the high school rooms, like they even have like video games in there. They might, I think even I've seen before, I think maybe on like Royal Caribbean or something, they even have like a VR set that they can use. Mm-hmm. And I think even aside from allowing them to go and utilize those spaces, I think they plan activities, like you said. Like I know on some of these ships, they have like mini golf courses, or they have like smaller sports courts, like maybe like a half basketball court. And I think they set up times where you can sign up for a game or for, a scrimmage or what have you. So that's a lot of fun for the kids too, that they can even see their own kind of itinerary that they can pick and choose from the things that they want to participate in.
Yeah, I played my first ever pickleball game in on a cruise ship. Knowing nobody, you just go and you get in line and the next 4 play, and there weren't enough people. Not that there weren't enough. There was only 4 of us there, so that was 2 courts, and we just kind of played. In fact, the other lady just kind of warmed up and taught me a little bit, and we just kind of hit back and forth for a little bit.
That's great. Yeah. You can make new friends like that, especially children. When they get involved with things like that, it's really easy for them to hit it off and make friends.
We forgot to mention, and I know Princess does this, some others might too, is when we were talking about the pool, there's movies under the stars on Princess. Mm-hmm. And is it every night? I don't know, but at least 1 or 2 nights they have a family-friendly movie that they play on this giant screen out over the pool, and people have their lounges, they have their dinner, their drinks, whatever, popcorn, and they watch a movie under the stars with just a whole bunch of people outside, and it's really kind of nice.
Yeah, that is a great one. It's really, like you said, being under the stars, just like the visual aspect. And then usually, they're going to play like a classic movie that you've already seen, so you can, if like your children are going to like it or sit through it or not.
Mm-hmm. And then a lot of other activities, like what would they do, say, for a rainy day? Because there's it's not a movie under the stars.
Right. That's definitely weather permitting, but there are all kinds of, again, especially depending on your ship and your cruise line, but there can be a lot of different like craft workshops, and then you have your different, the shows as well. And you have the spa. You also have a library. Usually the ships are going to have some type of library or some kind of area where you can go if you need quiet time, or you're interested in like, oh, what kind of hardcover book can I find in here? Mm-hmm. Especially with everyone now having everything on their Kindles and stuff. Sometimes it's actually nice to grab a physical book and open it.
Yeah, and a game, like a game room that has lots of different games that people can in the library that people can play. I know one of the ladies I cruise with a lot, her idea of fun is to lay out on the balcony of our cabin and read a book, whereas I want to go kayaking that day, you know what I mean? Which I do, and she does. So to have the library there is very, very good for people who are maybe not quite as mobile, or again, for a rainy day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Usually they'll have like board games in there as well. Like if it really is, that type of rainy day where you just kind of have to make do. There are definitely some, they have lots of activities that can take up time. Like one of the other things that people don't always think about is they expect like the shows and stuff to always be like later at night, or they kind of reserve that activity for something that they're going to do like after dinner. But a lot of the times they have the shows, the music trivia, which they usually do in the theater as well. Or like I said, like the comedy acts. Sometimes they even have like magic shows. A lot of the times those are going to be happening throughout the day on your sea days, so that you have other things to do other than just going out into the pool. Or like you said, if there is a rainy day, there are a lot of planned activities.
Yeah. And you know what I did one time on a cruise ship? This was decades ago. I was with a large group. We had about 50 people with our group, but I went alone to this because no one else was interested. I went to a ventriloquism lesson.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That was very interesting. And there were like 3 of us there, I think, from the whole ship. But that would have been something, I didn't have kids yet, but it would have been something that a lot of kids would have enjoyed too.
Yeah. No, that's really neat. And that's neat that was a lesson. That wasn't just like a show that you went and, it was entertaining, but like to actually sit there and get to learn about it, that's super different.
Yeah. And then the kids are more likely to go home and practice it than I would, because they would like want to do funny things and play with stuffed animals, doing their voices and stuff. And, that can always be used later for fun. I mean, I know people in puppet ministries. I know a lot of adults that play with dolls,
Yeah, I was saying, you never know, too. You never know if you just, try something out for the first time and then you realize like, oh, I'm actually kind of good at this, or actually, enjoy this, have an knack for it, want to improve.
Yeah, or it could be a career, or you could have a career of something else. Say you're a comedian, and then you just throw in a little bit of ventriloquism with it, So that's kind of cool. I mean, I typically don't go on a cruise ship hoping to find a career, but you just never know with kids. Their interest will be piqued anytime, anywhere, about things we don't even think about.
Yeah, I completely agree. So lots of great things to do on the ship that can entertain the whole family. And, as well as off the ship, we can think of a few things, especially in our market here. We're based out of Texas, so a lot of our cruises come out of Galveston or out of Florida. So we're typically in the Caribbean and maybe going to some areas in Mexico. So everything's very tropical, right? So I think our typical family outing on a shore day is going to be the beach. It's going to be some type of maybe wildlife encounter with all the jungles and the sea life here. And then you mentioned as well, kayaking. That's a really popular one in these different destinations, like the Bahamas, Jamaica, Cozumel. Even what's really popular now are glass bottom kayaks, or even glass bottom boats. Have you done that?
Yes, it is remarkable. I wouldn't have thought you could actually see so clearly through them. I thought it would be sort of a foggy, like looking through frosted glass or something. It is so clear.
Yeah, I've done the glass bottom boat, and I was kind of afraid, right? Because you hear glass bottom, I'm like, okay. So the boat that I went on, it was really only like maybe like a rectangle in the middle of the ship. It wasn't like the entire boat was a glass bottom. So like that was still really nice. You could just kind of walk over to like look. But the glass kayaks, that's something I'm really it looks like a lot of fun, but it also looks scary.
It wasn't scary at all.
No. Yeah, that's something I would love to do. It looks like a real adventure. It just looks like such an experience.
Yeah. And then my mom used to do this in Albuquerque, walking tours.
Oh, okay.
She used to lead walking tours in Albuquerque, and to be walking through certain cultural areas. It's just not just educational, historical areas. A lot of people love that. Mm-hmm. Not just educational, but enjoyable.
Yeah, and walking tours are great because you kind of have to slow down. You really have to pay attention to what's in front of you, and I just feel like you immerse yourself and you get a better takeaway from visiting that area. Actually walking the streets, looking around, paying attention to where you're going is very different than, just driving through an area that takes you 2 minutes instead of, a 10 to 20 minute walk.
Right. Or bicycling tours, depending on how old the kids are or whatever. I was going to go on a bike tour all around New Zealand. But it was it was going to take 3 weeks. By the time you spend 2 days flying each way, right? So like 3 weeks and over $5,000. And it was just like, this is just too much. I'll cycle like, I don't know, the Grand Canyon or something, which I've never done. But, it's just sometimes you have to prioritize.
Yeah, I'm sure you can start smaller somewhere, make your way up to the 3-week trip.
That's right. Oh, and you cannot ever forget food tastings.
Food tastings is a great one, especially if you're in a totally different environment, different culture than you're used to. That's a great way to learn about the area that you're in, to really get a feel for their culture and, their history as well. These different recipes that get passed down generation after generation. That's a very great point.
Yeah, and for people who like to relax while the kids are with, whatever, virtual reality or something like that, they have, the spa has, what do they call the heated lounges? I can't believe the name is escaping me. I've been in them before. They're wonderful. And then they've got the, a lot of times they have the hot tub, the big heated hot tub that you can get in. And those aren't things you can take the kids to.
Right.
But sometimes they have something you can, mom and me, blah, 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 some sort of a facial or massage or whatever. And those are pretty cool too.
Yeah, definitely.
Can you think of anything else that for the whole family, or even one or the other, what one could do while the other is doing an age appropriate thing? Because I think the best thing to do is divide it up, where part of the time is spent all together and part of the time is spent, age appropriate stuff.
Yeah, one thing that we love to do is when we're going on a cruise as like a family, usually on the first day, is we like to take a full walk of maybe not at every deck, but especially like the top decks. Some of them will even have like a track to kind of just like guide you to get a full feel of the ship, because these ships are so huge nowadays. They offer so much that if you don't pay attention or you don't make a point to kind of look at everything, there might be some things that you miss. And so I think that's like a great thing to do on your first or second day. Again, with the whole family, just kind of take a walk, everyone take a look at everything that there is to offer. And so that you guys can kind of come together and be like, oh, so-and-so wanted to try this, but didn't want to do that. And we can split it up that way type of thing.
Yeah, I love the like the Princess Patter and the little schedules for the day. A lot of times you have to ask for the paper ones, but I just love those. I take my highlighter, I plan ahead. And if you've got a family, it's easier to maybe highlight in different colors what each person could do, and then just coordinate your schedules much more easily. And then just decide each day, unless there's something, in particular that you need to do in advance. Like, for example, it's very, very advisable that you book the restaurants, the specialty restaurant meals before you even get on the ship, or at least the first day.
Right.
But aside from that, you find out day to day about the ventriloquism lesson, or, a lecture on something or whatever.
Right. Depending on the ship and the cruise line too, they could even have that schedule out a whole week before. Like if they have like an app that coordinates with the ship, you can usually look at those things once you've checked in, or like I said, maybe a few days or a week before, they'll have that those things listed. Another great tip I would say is I would look up or ask your travel agent specifically what is unique about your ship.
Renee.
So again, a lot of these newer ships, like they might have a lot of the same bells and whistles, but they might have one specific thing that is specific to their ship. Like I know we did a few episodes. I know we did an episode a few weeks ago that we were talking about some of the ships that now have like VR rides or like roller coasters, simulators. So like something like that, if it is specific to the ship that you're on and it's not something where like, oh, the next cruise, I'll try it out. Like I would definitely say that should be one of those things where you're like, okay, I got to do the one thing that's totally different. And we had to check that off the list. We had to say that we did it while we were on this ship.
Yeah. If it's only on one ship, you got to do it today, or you got to do it this week, or, whatever it comes down to. Wow. Well, remember, by the way, we've got a 1-page idea sheet for you to download for free. So be sure to head down to the notes there. And then while you're there, share your ideas, your questions, and like, subscribe, and share, of course. Until next time, we're Carla and Julie, encouraging you to seize the day.
You've been listening to the Seize the Day podcast, powered by Travel with Brigitte. If you like what you heard, please like and subscribe. And as always, feel free to ask us anything in the comments section. We love to hear from you. Or email us at bookings@travelwithbrigitte.com. Till next time, seize the day.